Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, got a post here from the HBAR Foundation, which is really just a reply to Stephen McClurg. And I found this really funny, and so I'm going to just give you the first, very short version of it, but then I'm just going to go into it in a bit more depth because there's a interesting take to this, and it's something I've actually covered a little while back. So let's really get into this. So Stephen McClurg has just mentioned that he recently went to ETH Denver. And he's basically done a long explanation of like how it went and what he's learned from the experience. And then HBAR Foundation have done TLDR, which is too long, don't read. Everyone is talking about HBAR and XRP, which I thought was hilarious because one, what I really like about this is that HBAR Foundation did mention XRP as well, because I like that they're not trying to be on this like tribal thing of just speaking about HBAR. Like there are with the unity, it's fine, and that's good because what's the two cryptocurrencies that I cover the most? HBAR and XRP, right? So it's good to see that the two main cryptocurrencies that I cover is the ones that are really getting a lot of talk right now. And it's because these are two of the main cryptos that I really believe in long term. That's just the truth. That's why I cover them so much, because I've researched into these extensively and I really believe in their potential and their future. And so I actually did a video, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, and it was in regards to saying, is HBAR the Ethereum killer? And I said I really believe it has the potential to be the Ethereum killer. And the reason why I was saying this is because, look, anyone who's used Ethereum, we know the deal. Like I've been telling you this for the longest time now. We all know this. Ethereum, it's slow. It's expensive. It can't really scale. It gets congested. It fails a lot. So there's a lot of issues with Ethereum, right? And so the thing with Ethereum is it was like the third cryptocurrency in existence or something like that. So it was very early, and it was the first network that provided smart contracts. It was the first smart contract blockchain. And so because of this, obviously that was revolutionary. And of course it got them a lot of traction. And I will just say this, and I'm not going to get too deep into this because it's not an XRP video. I do believe the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit hindered XRP battling for that position as well, because originally it was XRP and Ethereum battling for that position, but I won't get into that here. That's a story for another time that I've covered before. But yeah, Ethereum, it had a first mover advantage, right? And so it's like anything. It's great. You pay homage to the ones that came before you. So look, I've got no issue with Ethereum in that sense. Like, fair enough. It was the first of its kind for smart contracts, but then you've just got to understand, you've got to move over for the improvements now. Like there's new and better technology that, HBAR is faster than Ethereum. It's cheaper than Ethereum. It's fixed fees in USD, so it's a lot more convenient. It doesn't keep changing in the gas fees depending on the price of the token. It can scale, so it won't get congested like Ethereum does. It's just better than Ethereum in every single way, in all complete honesty, if we just be real. And so it's just something that I'd said from a long time ago, and we've got here Stephen McClurg who's just expanding upon that. And so I'm actually going to go into the full message of what he said here. And so just before we do get started, who is Stephen McClurg? He's the CEO of Canary Funds, which is Canary Capital basically. They've been doing a lot of ETFs and stuff like that lately, and he's here basically really supporting HBAR, which to me tells you all you need to know. But let me just explain this. Stephen isn't going to say this just because of like a favoritism thing. He's a businessman. He's a CEO of a company. So at the end of the day, if the demand was higher for something else, he will go where the demand is, because businesses are here to make money, right? Anyone with logic, with business logic, they're not going to put their emotions before their the money, right? Now, obviously, if you've got morals in certain aspects, then yes, I can understand that. So if it was something where, let's just say a company was doing something that was immorally wrong, then yes, I can understand that. But if we're just talking about a crypto token and we're just talking about utility, you're not going to let you're not going to treat it like your football club, right, who you support, or what basketball team you support. You're not going to have this dying loyalty just because you like that crypto token. You're going to put business first, because it's like, look, even though I like this crypto, this other crypto surpasses it in every way. So business wise, it makes sense to go with this one. That's what they're going to do, because that's what's best for business, right? So when you see this isn't someone who's playing like favoritism. This is just someone telling you how it is. And this shows you how great HBAR is doing and how it's starting to pick up traction. And so I'll go through this post and we'll just talk on it as well. So he said, I went to ETH Denver for the first time this year. I have been saying ETH is outdated and lost its usefulness for 5 years. I wanted to explore that thesis by speaking with builders. So as I just said, everything that I've covered, everybody who's used Ethereum knows that at the end of the day, yeah, great for what it started in terms of smart contracts, cool, but in terms of it having longevity, yeah, it's outdated. It's not going to work. So he then put, here's what I learned. 1. ETH developers are long gone. Projects are still built on ETH because they have to. Interoperability will make ETH more irrelevant. Long-time supporters have seen the signs in the last year and have moved on. Yeah, so like obviously I'm not a developer, so I can't like speak to that completely, but as I've been saying, like I'm like, let me just say this, right? When I cover like HBAR and XRP, it's not a favoritism thing. Like I pick these cryptos because I really believe they have a future. So this isn't me thinking, oh, like this is like my, like blind loyalty to these coins. No, like the reason why I cover these coins is because I really believe in their potential. I really believe in their future. Like if I thought there was other coins that come out that had more potential, I would just cover them. I'll be honest, because I'm not here to be like, like married to the bags, as they say, right? Like I'm not here to be, someone who's blindly supporting something. Like if I saw that the ship was crashing for HBAR and I thought that it was going down as a network, I would be here covering it. I would say, hey guys, this isn't looking good. Like this is not great news. I'm not so confident. I'm not here to be like a cheerleader for any crypto. I just give you content on the cryptos that I believe have a longevity, and I give you content as to why I believe that, right? And so, as someone who's used ETH, I'm not against ETH, but I can just be honest with you, as a genuine user, not someone who's against ETH. I've got no, loyalty to XRP against ETH or anything like that. I've used ETH and it's just not a good experience. It's just not. And, HBAR is a much better experience. XRP is a much better experience. So at the end of the day, like, this isn't like a thing of, like, it's not surprising to hear this, to be honest with you. And I said this before, like, eventually, people will realize, okay, yeah, ETH was great at the beginning because everybody was using it, and this was like what we had as the first one, so we got more comfort with it. But eventually people are not going to keep sticking to that, because why are you going to want to keep paying high gas fees? Why are you going to want to keep paying for transactions that could fail and then you've still lost the money that you paid? Why are you going to have to keep waiting and like an hour for something to go through? People are not going to want to keep doing that, right? So at the end of the day, like the writing was on the wall in terms of, Ethereum having longevity. I think at the end of the day, it could still have its place, but I don't think it'll be like in the top 3, in my opinion. I don't even know if it'll be in the top 10. That's just my personal opinion. We'll see. But for me, this is obvious. So as you can see, guys, what I've told you before, like Ethereum's days, I think they're pretty much numbered, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to stay in its place. Like, I don't know how long it could take. It could be years. I don't know. But I think the shift is happening, as Stephen is pointing out here. Second, Sol. Chain of preference for builders. So Sol is Solana. Chain of preference for builders leaving ETH. However, community very disenfranchised on the massive VC pump and dump as a major portion of the unlock occurring now. Most builders on Sol agree with my assessment that all-time high has come and gone for the cycle, and selling their bags on any strength. Okay, so in terms of like talking about the all-time high and all that, like I'm not going to get into that, because I'll be honest with you, Solana's not really like a token that I've like really studied in depth, if I'll be honest with you. And the reason being is because when I was learning about Solana, obviously when it had a lot of like network outages. And so I will say this, when I first saw Solana really pumping the way it did, the way it just massively went up in value, I was surprised, because for me, I'm like, but as a chain, this doesn't sound reliable. Like, it's had a lot of network outages, a lot of problems. So why is it getting so much traction? I really just didn't get it. And I did see a video by BitBoy, Ben Armstrong, right? And he did say this. He said, look, I'm hearing the reason why Solana pumped so much is because VCs were involved. VCs was trying to pump up the project because they were invested, and so they wanted it to gain more traction by it getting more value, and that obviously getting people involved, wanting to like FOMO buy, and that's how they did it, and then they could dump on the retail. Now, again, I still don't know if that's very true, but from what Steven's saying here, it does sound like it is, right? Like, he's saying this as well, and BitBoy also said this. And so you got to understand, like, BitBoy is a very big YouTuber, and so he's probably like in the mix with a lot of crypto people. So he probably does have conversations with like, maybe people who are connected to Sol, or people who just know about Sol and what's going on behind the scenes. So I think that's very believable. And then you've got here Stephen McClurg saying the same thing. So that's two people now who I've heard talking about this. And it would make sense if I'll be completely honest, because as I said, to me, for how well Solana performed when it just started rallying in price, it didn't make sense to me in terms of what the actual network can do, because it's had scaling issues numerous times. So it's not like a trustworthy network. So my whole thing the whole time was like, well, what's making this pump so big? Like, I don't get it. Like, I was really confused. And so if it is VCs like trying to, basically play the game to pump the value and get people interested, then they succeeded, because that worked. It really did. So I'm not about to speak on like the all-time high and all that kind of stuff, because I don't like speak to chart analysts, or like I don't follow chart analysts who speak about Solana, because I'm not invested in Solana. That's just the truth of the matter. So it's not really a coin that I follow that in depth. But from what I did do, like the very little surface research I did do, and that's why I came to a stop, is that I heard that the network had a lot of problems scaling, and it had a lot of outages, and that for me was enough to be like, well, I can accept like a couple of outages here and there, and then working on it and then fixing it. But if you're having it numerous times, it's like, it's either a thing where there's a problem with the chain, or they're not doing a very good job of trying to sort the issue, trying to resolve the problem, right? So either way, for me, it was not enough for me to want to get involved in. Now look, for the people who did get involved and still made money, congratulations, because at the end of the day, that's what you're here for. So at the end of the day, if you did still manage to make money, hey, I'm happy for you. For me, I was just going off of fundamentals, and the fundamentals didn't make sense. But I will say this, like, if it is a thing that VCs are pumping and dumping, you've got to be careful, because you're basically operating within a manipulated market, right? So you've got to be careful, because you're at the whim of the VCs. So that's where I will say be careful with that. Okay, next point 3. Enterprise. Everyone is talking about HBAR and XRP. Boring non-crypto in legacy tech businesses like IBM. They offer different angles, but have reinvigorated builders. So there you go. Everyone's talking about HBAR and XRP. It makes a lot of sense to me. As I say, like, I've been doing this channel for roughly 2 years now, and the main two cryptos that I've been consistently covering is HBAR and XRP. And as I say, these are the two that I've actually researched the most, right? And, I really feel confident in their future. That's why I cover them so much, because I really do feel confident in these two assets. And so to see people talking about these two just solidifies my channel, right? Because it shows you I cover these two the most, and this is why. Because I believe long term, HBAR and XRP will be very valuable assets. I really do believe enterprises will, come in floods and droves to utilize XRP and HBAR. I really do believe that. So it's great to see that, and that like this is starting to like gain traction for them, because they deserve it. They've got the technology, and they go about things the right way. Like one thing I will say about ETH, and I'm not going to get too deep into this, but we learned a few things about ETHgate from the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, and Ethereum were playing dirty, to say the least. So like, it's good to see that you've got companies like Ripple, you've got companies and networks like Hedera and the HBAR Foundation who are at least trying to play by the rules. They're not trying to pay people to like sue other companies and try and take them down and stranglehold them. So that's a thing that I really respect. Okay, 4. Interoperability is what all the protocols are talking about. DOT was the favourite in 2020, but not a single person cares. 90% of the builders and protocols I talked to mention Axel, a highly skilled team who everyone works with on the back end. Noted. 5. Other protocols, devs who are leaving ETH or Sol, or who are starting fresh, or mention one of 3 protocols that they are either migrating to or exploring. More on this later after I see actual movement. So there you go, guys. There you go. Like, as you can see, a lot of people are now starting to look at HBAR, XRP, and Axel from the sound of it as well. This one's starting to get traction. I think I covered these before, because I'm sure like Axel was doing something. Is it Axela? Actually, it might be Axela if I'm thinking rightly. I think AXL is obviously just the ticker for them. I'm sure that they've done something with HBAR, because they're like an interoperability chain. So I think I have covered these guys as well, but not in depth, in all honesty. But yeah, this guy's got no reason to lie. Do you know what I mean? As I say, from a business perspective, you're going to do what works. It's just that simple. You're going to do what's going to bring in the money. You're running a business. So at the end of the day, you shouldn't really, well, I'm not going to say that people won't do it, because, you know, some people may just be stupid and they may put their own feelings over the business. And as I say, if it's something that's moral, I can understand that, because that just comes down to integrity, right? So if it's something where morally you feel like it's wrong, fine. But if you're just talking about just like a preference, or it's just like, I just like this network, so I'm going to support it over any other network, and I'll bash all the other networks to support my own token, that's just silly. You know, that's just silly, and it doesn't make any kind of business sense whatsoever. So at the end of the day, we'll see how this goes. But as you can see, HBAR is getting its rightful place. And, you know, like at the end of the day, XRP's been around like a lot longer than HBAR. So to see HBAR getting talked about, because, you know, HBAR is in a top 10 cryptocurrency right now. So the fact that HBAR is still getting mentioned, I think that speaks volumes. You know, and that's why I've said it before, but I do think in the future it's very possible that HBAR could be a top 10 crypto. I think it's very possible. We'll see. But like, look at this. Like, you can see that the two main ones being talked about is XRP, which is a top 3 cryptocurrency right now, and then HBAR, which is I can't remember where HBAR is, but HBAR is clearly, you know, getting its place with XRP, which is a top 3 crypto. So you know what I mean? That speaks for itself. So I feel very comfortable with HBAR's future, and I think this is very telling. So thought I'd share this with you guys, because again, it's telling you, you know, exactly where things are going, exactly what I've told you about ETH. I don't think it's going to have any longevity in the end. I think it could still be around just as a, you know, a legacy token, but in terms of would it still be in the top 3, I don't see that personally. I just don't see why people would use it in that way. So time will tell, but I thought I'd share this with you. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.